you have your Bibles this morning, let's go to the book of James. James chapter 3. This morning I'm going to deal with actually verses 1 through 12, but for sake of time I'm going to read verses 5 and 6, and then 8 through 10. James is dealing with the situation here. That as a church, if you can get it under control and you can work things out, it's going to make your church a better church for God's glory. But James chapter 3, verse 5, it says, "Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindling." He says, "And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and it setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell." Verse 8 says, "But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God." James said it's a shame. He says, "Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessings and cursings." And he says, "My brethren, these things ought not be so." Amen. You may be seated. I'm just going to deal with this. I just want to talk about, as the Bible portrays to us here, I'm going to talk about the world's smallest but largest troublemaker. You see, you have to look at this text. Not only do you have to look at this particular text, you have to read prior chapter 2, chapter 1, to really get a true understanding, because you understand, James in those earlier chapters, he has explained to us two characteristics of a mature Christian. He said, one, that a mature Christian is patient in trouble, according to James chapter 1. And he says that he practices the truth, according to James chapter 2. But in this section, in this particular chapter, he shares a third characteristics of the mature believer. And he lets us know that he has power over his tongue. A mature believer is able to control his tongue, her tongue. And so you got to be careful what you claim for yourself. You can't talk about you just got a temper. You understand? You're talking about I got a spirit that I can't get rid of. You see, people want to not equate temper or anger with a spirit. It's a bad spirit that you have.
Yes, sir.
So you talk about, you know what, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. You're talking about a bad spirit, and you're talking about showing signs of immaturity.
Yes,
And so James is talking about this. And so the Christians that James wrote to were having serious problems with their tongue. You understand? You see, James has warned them that swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. James 1:19. He said, the believer who does not bridle his tongue is not truly converted. Now understand this thing about this conversion. Because, people always say when they baptize to give their life to Christ, they've been converted. Well, I stop by and tell you, they've given their life to Christ. They may become saved, but it takes time for the conversion part to take place. Just because you've been saved don't necessarily mean you've been converted. Oh, what you talking about, Pastor? I've always been taught that means I've been converted. Let me tell you what Jesus told Peter. Now, Peter was his disciple, right? Peter had walked with him during his ministry for those 3 years or so, right? But what did he tell Peter when he was standing up there? He said, Peter, once thou hast been converted, then you can help your brother. He didn't tell Peter once you get saved. Peter was saved. He was saved, but Peter wasn't converted. You see, converted means you give up your will. You give up all the things that you want to do, that you desire. You see, that don't mean you're not saved. That just means you still got a mind of your own. You still do what you want to do. He said, when you've been converted, then you can help your brethren. And so I started to tell somebody this morning, you understand, we got to get that conversion period. And so we can't be looking at everybody else. We can't be watching everybody else. We can't be trying to find everybody else's downfalls and faults. We got to watch ourselves, because you got to understand, we trying to work on this conversion thing. And once you get this conversion thing, you're walking into a state of maturity, because you'll watch what comes
out of your mouth.
Out of your mouth. You'll watch what you say to other folks. We feel more comfortable saying something to some people than we do to others. And so we might say, oh, y'all help me. I just want to get this straight, because we get ready to be a all right church around here. You understand? This is what I'm working at right now. We growing. We get ready to be an all right church around here. You understand? And so this thing is, they had a problem with this tongue. And see, the believer who does not bridle his tongue is not truly converted. And so we must speak and act as though we were already facing Christ in judgment. You see, when you up there judging, you ain't going to talk the way you might be. Y'all going to stay with me this morning. You see, when you read this passage, passages like James 4:1, 11 through 12, you get the impression that this assembly might have had some interesting meetings. They was probably having some of them business meetings. Yes, sir. You know what them business meetings can be like in the church, right? Yeah. Everybody show up at a business meeting. Ain't been to church in 3 years. You call a business meeting. Everybody will show up. They show up in slippers. They show up in robes. They have their curlers in their hair. Everybody come to the business meeting. They want to hear what's going on. And I ain't found one yet. It was peaceful. All right. Business meetings. I'll leave that alone. You see, the power of speech is one of the greatest powers you've got to understand that God has given to us. The power of speech. You see, with the tongue, man can praise God. He can pray. He can preach the word. He can lead the lost to Christ. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege. But it's sad, because at the same tongue, the same man can tell lies, and he can ruin a man's reputation or break a person's heart. And so the ability to speak words is the ability to influence others and to accomplish tremendous tasks. And yet we take this ability that we have for granted. You got to understand, in order to impress on us the importance of controlled speech and the great consequence of our words, James gives us 6 pictures of the tongue. If you read that, he talks about the bit, he talks about the rudder, he talks about fire, he talks about poisonous animals, he talks about a fountain, and he talks about a fig tree. You have to understand, you can put these 6 pictures into 3 meaningful categories that reveal the 3 powers of the tongue. The first one is in James 3:1-4. James talks about the tongue has the power to direct. You understand? Apparently, everybody in this assembly James was talking to wanted to teach. And they wanted to be spiritual leaders. For James had warned them, not many of you should act as teachers. Some folks want to teach, but they ain't ready to teach. Some folks want to do things, but they ain't ready to do it. You see, he told them, my brother, many of you should act as teachers, not act as teachers. But perhaps they were impressed because being a teacher or having an office was an authority or a prestigious spot to have in the church. You know, we can get caught up on recognition. We can get caught up on titles. We can get caught up on this authority type thing that we think something's so important. I want that because it makes me look important. But see, you're thinking about you. You ain't thinking about the glory of God. This is not about you. This is about God. And so they thought about the prestigiousness of the office. But the one thing that people forget when they want to have these important positions is that there's a tremendous responsibility and accountability. You see, I've come up, and that's through my ministry, and I've come up and I've seen many people, they wanted to be ministers, but they didn't want the responsibility of a ministry. You see, they wanted to be called reverend somebody, but they didn't want to be do what the possibility or the responsibility of the position called for. And so a lot of people want titles, but they don't want responsibility. They don't want accountability, but that comes with the job. And so those who teach the word face a stricter judgment. You see, you want to preach, you want to do this here, but it says you're going to be held at a stricter level than those that do not. And so you see, it ain't always what looks so glorified to you. You better look at what goes with that glory. You see, some people see the glory, but they don't know the story. They don't know what it took to get there. They don't know what you go through to have what you have. They don't understand. They just look at the picture of the outside. They ain't dealing with the late night hours. They ain't dealing with all the complaints. They ain't dealing with all the responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you got to understand. You got to understand. They just want to have something. And so you got to understand this here. So teachers must use their tongue to share God's truth. And it's easy to commit sin of the tongue. You see, furthermore, teachers must practice what they teach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, otherwise their teaching is hypocrisy. You see, think of the damage that can be done by a teacher who is unprepared, or whose spiritual life doesn't stand up to par. It doesn't add up. You see, but teachers are not the only ones who are tempted to sin. Every Christian must admit that we all stumble in some kind of way. We all stumble. And sins of the tongue seem to be the head of the list. You got to understand that the person who is able to discipline his tongue gives evidence that he can control his whole body. And so he proves that he is, as the Bible says, mature, perfect man. You got to understand that perfect doesn't mean flawless. That perfect means maturity in the Bible. The Bible says you can be perfect, but it means you can be mature, not flawless. So is James making a mistake by connecting sins of the tongue with the sins committed by the whole body? And I would answer that to say no, because words usually lead to deeds. You got to understand, there's an old saying, I'm sure some of us or most of us are old enough to understand it, and we remember it says, loose lips sink ships, but loose lips also wreck lives. You got to understand, a person makes an unguarded statement and suddenly finds himself involved in a fight. How many times any of y'all ever had y'all mouth get y'all in a battle? You went up and said the wrong thing or didn't say it the right way. Next thing you know, you were defending yourself on a physical level. It went from words to deeds. You had to put your dukes up. And some of y'all still have that mentality sometimes, because as soon as somebody make y'all mad, y'all start popping y'all's head. Y'all start doing things and start switching hips and cocking and doing all things and start talking about I ain't always. Oh, y'all help me here. Y'all gonna help me this morning? Y'all act like y'all ain't never done that. I ain't always been saved, and you don't know where I come from. I know somebody said they'll bust your head to the white meat. Somebody that made you, got you all out your character. You forgot you was a child of God. You're like, God, I'm finna lay this down just for a minute. Gotta handle something. I'll be back to being a Christian just a few minutes. I stopped by to tell you, you got to be able to say maturity helps you control the whole body, you understand? And so in selecting a bit, he talks about a bit and a rudder. He's talking about the helm. Helm means rudder. James presents two items that are small in themselves, yet they exercise great power. You see, just like the tongue, you see, a small bit enables the rider on a horse control this great, powerful animal just because he's got a bit in the mouth. You know, it was interesting because I studied the bits when I was looking at this thing before, and they say, you know what? I say, that's the one for most Christians right there. They got one bit, they put it on, they call it a grace bit. And I said, oh, we need some grace bits in the church, you know, so we can put them in. And every time something goes wrong, you kind of tug it. You know, I don't know if any of y'all ever rode horses, you know, but that great, powerful animal who could just do whatever he wants with you, but you put a bit in his mouth and you can turn his head right, turn his head left. You can make him rear up. You can make him bow down, duck his head. You can do whatever you want just by that small controlling device. And so it's this small rudder on the back of a ship. You know, this huge ship is controlled to go left and right or straight by this rudder. And so the tongue is a small member of the body, yet it has the power to accomplish great things. You see, both the bit and the rudder, they got to overcome some contrary forces. See, the bit must overcome this wild nature of this horse, and the rudder must fight the winds and the current that would drive the ship off course. And so the human tongue must also overcome some contrary foes. You see, we have an old nature within us that wants to control us. You know, we came to Christ and the old nature might have been subdued or put down, but it didn't go nowhere, and it's just laying there every chance it get to rise up and begin to take over. And so we have some contrary things that make us sin. And so there are circumstances around us that will make us say things we ought not say. Things happen and we say something that we should not have said. And so sin on the inside and pressures on the outside are seeking to get control of your tongue. Oh, they're trying to get control of your tongue and get your mouth to run and get your mouth to going. And so this means that both the bit and this rudder must be under the control of a strong hand.
Yeah.
And so the expert horseman, he keeps the mighty power of his steed under control, and the experienced pilot courageously steers the ship through the storm. And so the text, the Proverbs with Solomon, he said, when Jesus Christ controls the tongue, then we need not fear saying the wrong thing or even saying the right thing the wrong way. You have to understand, sometimes that happens to a lot of people. They say the right thing, they just don't know how to say it. They just not people person. They just don't know how to express themselves. And see, until you learn how to do that, most often than not, you just need to learn first how to. Thank you, Sister Chambers. I didn't want people to think Pastor was too harsh. Sister Chambers said, shut up. I'm in agreement. Amen. I'm in agreement. Sometimes you just need to learn how to close your mouth and be quiet. Mama always told me, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. I think if we could live by that. And so you got to understand this tongue in death and life or in the power of the tongue. You can become a spiritual serial murderer in the church, killing everybody you come across if you don't know how to shut your mouth and control your tongue. Give your mouth to God. You see, that's why David prayed. David said, set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the doors of my lips. Incline not my heart any evil thing. You see, David knew that the heart is the key to right speech. You have to understand. You have to understand. You see, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh much. You got to understand, when Jesus Christ is the Lord of your heart, he is also the Lord of your lips. And so this bit and this rudder, they have the power to direct, which means affect the lives of others. And so the words we speak affect the lives of others. It's like a judge. If a judge says guilty or not guilty, he's going to have an effect on the prisoner's life and the prisoner's destiny. It's not only his destiny, but his family's destiny, his friend's destiny. President of the United States speaks a few words and signs some papers, and the nation is at war. He's controlling, he's affecting people all over. Even a simple yes or no from the lips of a parent can greatly affect the destination or direction of a child's life. And so never underestimate the guidance you give by the words you speak or do not speak. Oh, I like that. Sometimes not speaking is detrimental. Just like when somebody's gossiping all up in your face and you just sitting there ain't saying a word. And then you go back and tell somebody else what they said. You say, I didn't say that, I just let them talk. Then you okayed it. Because if you shut your mouth and you didn't close it down and shut it down, you just stand there like, I'm okay with it. And so you just as bad as them. Because you took it from them and took it back to the purpose.
Yes, sir.
I ain't gonna keep y'all long today, y'all. Quiet on you, but you gotta understand. You got to understand. Speaking has an effect and an influence. You see, Jesus spoke to the woman at the well, and her life and the lives of her neighbor experienced a miraculous change. Peter preached at Pentecost, and 3,000 souls came to salvation, the faith of Christ. And so you got to understand, the tongue has a power to direct others in the right choices, to the right choices. And so it would do us all good to read frequently the book of Proverbs and to note especially the many references to speech. It says a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And it says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. It says, in the multitude of words there warneth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. And so yes, the tongue is like a bit, it's like a rudder, and it has the power to direct. How important is it that our tongue direct people in the right way? And so that's why we practice here at chapel. We're not saying anything negative. Right. We're saying everything that's positive. We're encouraging people, not discouraging people. We're trying to make people's lives better. We're trying to give people hope, and we're trying to give people strength when they're being torn down. We're trying to help build them up. And so you have that power to direct. Also, it says this, James goes on to say in verses 5 through 8, he says, you got to understand that this tongue of yours has the power to destroy. It has the power to destroy. Our words can start fires. And they say where no wood is, there the fire goes out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. And so as coals are to burning coal and wood to fire, so is the contentious man to kindle strife. And so it's your tongue. It's your tongue. In some churches, there are members or there's officers who cannot control their tongues. And as a result, it causes destruction.
Yes, sir.
You see, you know it's them sometimes because let them move out of town or be replaced in office, and how beautiful the spirit and the harmony of the church becomes.
Yes,
you see,
sir.
it don't take a whole lot of folks to tear up a church. You see, just like that old thing, one bad apple. Oh, y'all heard that one, right? Just take one. And so if the whole church is letting one cause turmoil, it's going to cause division. It's going to cause strife. It's going to cause destruction and disruption. It's going to cause the church to be in turmoil. And so as a church, you have to be discerning in your spirit that you shut these things down and not let them go. You see, you need this harmony. And so you got to understand the tongue can heat things up. David wrote, he said, I said, I will take heed in my ways. I that I have sinned not with my tongue. My heart was hot within me while I was musing, the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue. He's talking about Psalms 39. It says, have you ever had that experience? Of course you have. A hot head and a hot heart can lead to burning words. You got to understand that later we will regret. You ever said something because you was heated? You said it in the moment of anger, but later you regretted it. You didn't wish you had not said it, but once it's been put out, it can't be taken back. You see, David had a temper, and he knew he had a temper. He had to have God's help in controlling it. And that's why Solomon wrote, he who restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. You see, he who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is quick-tempered exalts folly. And so fire not only starts small, but it grows. It grows and it creates heat. It also defiles. And so I looked at a thing, a guy had wrote a little excerpt. He said, a friend of mine suffered a fire in the basement of his house, and then the smoke and the fire damaged so much soil the upstairs of the house that the family had to move out while the house was being redone and redecorated. And so fiery words can defile homes. It can defile a Sunday school class, a church. And so the only thing that can wash away the defilement is the blood of Christ. You see, you got to understand. You see, it can start in the basement of the house, but it damaged all the upstairs. You see, wherever you drop it off at, it don't stay right there. You can light a fire right here. It ain't going to stay right here. And if you don't put it out, it's going to consume the whole building. So it's just a little fire. It's just a little fire. You look at all of these forest fires. Somebody flicked a cigarette. Somebody flicked a match. Somebody did something. And then acres of land was destroyed. And homes and many homes were destroyed by one little flick and carelessness of a match. So you got to understand, fire burns and it hurts, and our words burn and they hurt. And so one of the sorrows our Lord had to bear was when he here on earth was his enemies talked about him. And I know when you hear people talking about you, I know it burns and I know it hurts. You see, they called him a man gluttonous and a wine bibber because he graciously accepted invitations to dine with the people. And so the Pharisees didn't like him. And so you can look for some strife if you're hanging out with somebody else don't like. But you know what? Their words, they burn, but you got to be strong. This way it takes you to be mature. You understand? Fire spreads, and the more fuel that you give it, the faster and the farther it's going to spread. And so when people start to talk about you, you understand, you're going to make it grow. If you run around, start talking about who's talking about you, and then start adding your little 2 cents in, and the next thing you know, somebody else is going to tell what you said, and somebody going to tell what they said, and oh, help me. Ain't it funny, though? Ain't it funny? Watch this here. Ain't it funny that somebody can be talking in a conversation with somebody about you, but when they get to you, they only tell what that person said. They didn't say what they said. And if they got in a conversation, they said something. And so when you go get in the other person's face, and oh, she came and told you what I said, did she tell you what she said? Any of y'all know what I'm talking about? It grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. And you have to learn how to sometimes not get caught up in it. You see, when you can learn to understand, people are going to talk about you. But your words and your consolation ought to be just what I just read you. They talked about Jesus. Who are you that you think people can't talk about you? They talked about Jesus Christ. They criticized Jesus Christ. The thing about it is, you got to understand, the only time you ought to get upset, and you shouldn't get upset, or what time most people do get upset, is when they're talking about you and they telling the truth. That's when folks really get upset. Telling them my business. They telling the truth. this off of Facebook. You want to put it on there and think people ain't going to talk about it. That's what it's for. Stuff we put on there to be talked about. And so this spreading this fire can set the whole thing ablaze. And so James suggests that all of life is connected like a wheel, and therefore we cannot keep things from spreading. A person's entire life can be injured or destroyed by the tongue, and time does not correct the sins of the tongue. So we may confess our sins of speech, but the fire keeps on spreading. You might be sorry about what you said, but that don't stop the fire from keep on spreading. Once you put it out there, it's just a wildfire. You can take it back. You can take the post off of Facebook, but most people have already seen it, so they still talking about whatever it was. And so it destroys, and the words we speak have the power to destroy. Our own words may not have caused war, wreck cities, but they can break hearts and they can ruin reputation. They can also destroy souls by sending them into the eternity without Christ. You see, coming into the church, that's what we have to be so careful of. People come to church, you know, and they don't need to come here and hear a bunch of gossip. They don't need to come here and hear a bunch of ungodly stuff going on, because they came here because they heard in God's house there was peace. They heard in God's house there was tranquility. They heard in God's house there was love and there was joy. They heard in God's house there was hope. And so they don't need to see Christians fighting with each other and battling with each other. You see, then they look and say, well, I see that down on the corner. I might as well go on back down there, grab that brown bag, get me a drink, get a buzz, and watch the show. Oh, you got to understand how many times has some conversation poisoned someone's life, made people hurt. You see, I look at this thing, and as a pastor, you know, I've seen poisonous tongues do great damage to individuals, to families, to classes, even entire churches. And so I ask, would you turn a hungry lion or an angry snake loose in your Sunday school class? You see, of course you wouldn't, but unruly tongues accomplish the same results. And so James reminds us of this animal, that animals can be tamed, and for that matter, fire can be tamed. And when you tame an animal, you get a worker instead of a destroyer. When you control a fire, you generate power instead of destruction. And so the tongue cannot be tamed by man. But I stop by to tell you good news, it can be tamed by God. You got to understand. And so if God lights the fire and controls it, then the tongue can be a mighty tool for winning the lost and for building up the church. And so the important thing, of course, is the heart. We got to get back to the heart. For it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaketh. And so if the heart is filled with hatred, if Satan lights the fire, they say, but if the heart is filled with love, you see, if you got hatred, Satan is controlling your heart, and you're going to speak terrible things to people. But if God is controlling the heart, it's going to be filled with love. And so you got to understand, be very careful of who's controlling that tongue, who's controlling your heart. You got to fill it with love. But then it's third, as we get ready to close it out, you got to understand, the tongue has the power to delight. It can destroy, but it can delight. You have to understand that it talks about this fountain, of course. It provides cool water for the man who needs to stay alive. You got to understand, water can be used for washing and cooking and farming and a host of other things that are the necessity of life. And so the words of man's mouth can be like deep waters. You got to understand, like a wellspring of wisdom and a flowing brook. And so the mouth of a righteous man is the well of life. So the scriptures say, and the law of a wise man is a fountain of life, and to depart from the snares of death. And so these verses parallel with what James has written to underscore the importance of words. Water is life-giving, and the words can give life. However, if water is not controlled, it brings death. It brings destruction. So death and life and the power of the tongue.
Yes, sir.
However, when we bend over a fountain for a drink of cool water, we rarely expect to see a flood. We enjoy it on a hot, thirsty day. And so we think of it as a precious gift of refreshment that comes with that drink of water. And so we could not be healthy without water. Water cleanses, and God's word is the spiritual water that cleanses us. And so our words to others can also be and help to cleanse and to sanctify them. Our words ought to be like that river described in Ezekiel 47 that brought life to everything it touched. You see, the words you speak ought to lift people up. It ought to encourage people. It ought to strengthen people. And so the tongue is also delightful because it's like a tree. James says in Bible lands, trees are vitality, and they're vitally important to the economy. They help to hold down the soil. They provide beauty. They provide shade on a hot day, and they also bear fruit. And so our words can help to shelter. Our words can help to encourage a weary traveler. It can also feed a hungry soul. Yeah. And so he said, the lips of the righteous feed many. And the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. That's what Jesus said. He says, and we share his words with others. We feed them and encourage them along the way. And so the most important thing about the tree is the root system. Yes, sir. You see, if the roots don't go down very deep, the tree will not grow in a healthy manner. And see, so if we are rooted in the things of the Lord, then our words will be the fruit of our fellowship with him. You got to be rooted and grounded. You got to be rooted and grounded in God. And so we would be like that blessed man in Psalms 1 and produce fruit in due season. And one reason our Lord is able to say the right words at the right time because he communed with his Father. And he heard from heaven on a daily basis. If you listen to his testimony, the Lord said, the Lord has given me the tongue of the learned that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. He waketh morning by morning. He waketh my ear to hear as the learned. And so if you or I are going to have tongues that delight, then we must meet and commune and fellowship with the Lord on a daily basis. You understand? We must get our spiritual roots deep in the Word, and we must pray and meditate and permit the Spirit of God to fill our heart with God's love and God's truth. But James issues this warning. He said, a fountain cannot give forth two kinds of water. He said, and a tree cannot bear different kinds of fruit. And so we expect the fountain to flow with sweet water at all times. We expect the fig tree to bear figs and the olive tree to bear olives. And so if the tongue is inconsistent, there is something radically wrong with the heart. I read another insert that said, I heard a professing Christian who got angry on the job and let loose with some of those ungodly oaths. He got angry and he let his tongue burn and he let loose with some of those things we say when we ain't always been a Christian. He said, but later he was embarrassed. And so he turned to his partner and said, I don't know why I said that. It really isn't in me. He said his partner looked at him and said, it had to be in you. Or it couldn't have come out of you. And so many times we let the tongue run away and we try to find a reason to justify other than just saying it was in me. You know, it's good if you didn't have a drink, you could always proclaim that you was drunk. And you didn't know what you was doing. But I always come to find out that a drunk speaks the truth. A drunk will say what he really feels. When you're high, you will say what you really feel. Because the alcohol has become your courage, and the blood or